Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Derp Your Hooves. So, today we are in the Milviz Cessna 310, and we're going to be doing some touch and goes at Big Bear, California. So, I kind of goofed in a prior flight and just biffed the landing. And I need to practice my touch and goes. I need to try and get more centered in the runway and just practice landing at this airport. And what a better plane to practice your touch and goes and to fly than the Cessna 310 because, hey, it's supposed to be a very realistic flight model for, this simulator. So let's go ahead and do a couple touch and goes, and I'm going to show you a couple external landings. First one, there's not going to be an external landing, but the next one and the final landing, we're going to see what it looks like also from the outside. So let's get going and let's derp our hooves. And we have liftoff, so let's put our gears up. And let's go ahead and begin our go around to go ahead and start our touch and goes. And I'm going to play with the mixture there just a little bit because of our altitude. So we got to put our flaps up. And no, bump the gear there. So let's put the gears back up. That creates too much drag. There we go. And let's bring our flaps up. And now we can begin our go around. Yeah, it's real noisy in here. I mean, I'm not so sure why it's so noisy in here. And oh, I think I better close that storm window because it's really not a good thing to leave it open when you're flying. So let's go ahead and do that. So, Big Bear Airport has an altitude of 6,541 feet. This means that we need to have the mixture leaned out before takeoff, or we're going to need a longer runway to take off because with the mixture set to full rich, the 310 is going to struggle to muster up enough power to clear the runway. Now, since I'm unsure of how lean or how rich to set it, I'm going to be playing around with this on the first pass. So landing lights are pretty important because we're going to be making our first pass for our first touch and go. And well, since it's just a simulator, I'm going to leave them on for the duration of the flight. So that annoying little sound is the landing gear warning alarm, and it's actually a good safety feature so that when you're doing your touch and goes or your landings that you don't land with the landing gears retracted and do a belly landing. But sometimes it is annoying when you just accidentally bump the throttle back a little bit. It's like, hey, we're going to crash and we're going to die. And it's like, no, I just bumped it back a little bit and we're good. Thank you for letting me know. So I'm just going to deploy the landing gears so that I don't have to hear the landing gear alarm because I'm cutting the throttle back and I'm trying to slow down without my flaps, and I just really don't want to hear that thing going off as I'm trying to land. It's just an extra noise that I don't need to hear. And now we deploy our flaps to create a little bit of flare and to help slow us down just a little bit. Touch and go. So that's our first touch and go, and there's going to be at least one more, and we're going to have an external view right after we do the cockpit view on that one, just so we can see the position of the tires as it hits the runway, and just to kind of look at it from the outside. But I kind of want to go over just the basic touch and go. It's exactly as it sounds. It's a touch and go, as you see, and it's great practice for learning your approach on the runway and getting comfy with it. And in real life you'd want to call in a touch and go just like you'd want to call in your approach, and I didn't. And even though there's no real tower here, you can still call it in an airport in real life that has no tower, so the other pilots around know what's going on and they know where you are. So it's kind of important to do that. And yeah, we skipped calling it in because again, it's a sim, and no one's really going to get hurt if I'm touching and going, because it's a sim. And the other thing is I don't see any live players, even though I have the nameplates turned off, so it's pretty safe to do the touch and goes here. Now again, I just want to kind of go over some of our basic steps. Are landing lights, right? And then deploy gears when we get within a safe range, and you want to deploy your gears with enough time to make sure that they're down and locked. And you can look at the lights to make sure that they're all down and locked, so you don't have like 2 out of 3 gears or 1 out of 3 gears as you're landing. And you want to give it a little bit of flaps to give it some flare and slow it down as it comes in. But then right after your tires touch that runway, you want to give it full throttle, pull up, and then you want to, as soon as you can, you already have a positive rate of climb because you're coming in at speed and you're not really slowing down like it is for a full landing. So, gears up and flaps up so that you can, get out of the way and go ahead and make your second pass. So let's go ahead and deploy our gears. Three green lights means gears are down. And let's extend our flaps. Touch and go. And let's retract our gears. Now let's have a look at what that touch and go looks like from an external point of view. So let's go ahead and deploy our gears. And let's extend our flaps. Touch and go. And let's retract our gears. And let's retract our flaps. And that was our second touch and go, and so you got to see all the steps play by play in the in-cockpit and in the external view, so you can see what a touch and go looks like. Now, given I wasn't totally center on the runway, and that's also something that I need to work on, because it's not just where you touch and go, it's what's your position, because you really want to try and be as center as possible. So that's definitely something that I need to work on, and there's ways to do that. You have to find the center spot on your instrument panel that lines up with the center line on the runway, and you just keep practicing at it and practicing at it and practicing at it, and you'll learn it plane by plane. And some planes actually have a guide. They have a couple of dots that line up depending on your chair position. We don't seem to have that in the 310, so you just kind of pick a point on the instrument panel and say, that's it, that's the center line, and you just keep practicing and practicing, because we're really far off on the left, and I think I have a tendency to do that, and I should be more towards the right. So let's go ahead and let's do our final pass. So let's go ahead and deploy our gears. 3 green lights means gears are down. And let's extend our flaps.
Yeah, Applejack! Woohoo! I just don't know what went wrong.
Well, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the external view of the landing, and maybe we can figure out what went wrong. So let's go ahead and deploy our gears. And let's extend our flaps.
Yeah, Applejack! Woohoo! I just don't know what went wrong.
So I really don't know what went wrong, but I do know that the landing seemed pretty smooth to me, and I don't know why the engines suddenly decided just not to have any power and what exactly is going on. I did notice, though, on the replay, and I am using a certain replay tool, that the flaps seem to deploy improperly, but at the same time, you kind of saw when the flaps actually did deploy. So there's a couple little technical difficulties with the add-ons, and I think that there's something wrong with my actual throttle, but that's something that I can remedy. So anyhow, I just wanted to say I did eventually figure it out, and I got the 310 parked, and I'm definitely gonna have to take a look and see what the cause of that is. But again, I'm going to go ahead and do some of my sim A and P stuff on this side. So there you have it. Sorry about that. We didn't go so smoothly on the final landing, but the touch and goes went really well. So that's what you do when you do touch and goes in the sim. And I just wanted to say, as always, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the skies.